Is somebody drinking a shake? Bonnie?
So crazy. You all
Oh,
are
yeah.
such a hoot.
No, seriously, what is that noise?
What noise? Okay, do you hear it now?
No, just don't move ever again.
That was Paula.
No.
Well, maybe it's one of us. We don't know at this point. We just assumed it's you because, you're a repeat offender, but it might not be you.
Because because even when you get on the phone, it sounds like a junk collecting truck pulling up.
Starbane's Avenue.
Coming to you live from our houses in Los Angeles, California, it's Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone, your comedy field guide to life. Tonight, parking lots. Someone designs them. Who is the Frank Lloyd Wright of parking garages? John Purinton is here with us tonight, and he's been designing parking lots for 25 years. They've been essential to American democracy because without parking garages, Woodward and Bernstein would have no place to meet Deep Throat, and Nixon might never have gotten caught. Plus, we have an update on our vocabulary contest. Tony Anita Hull will clue us in on the gallimaufry of responses we got. There was nothing quotidian about it. I'm Adam Felber, the man who tries to make this show follow the conversational arrows in the direction of coherency, with our discussion eventually parking between the topical lines. And now, please welcome the woman whose conversational garage has no limits to the number of levels it rises to, Paula Poundstone.
Hey, you guys. Hey, Adam. And thanks so much to tonight's house band, Nobody, Tim Crump of Sacramento on the piano.
Thanks, Tim. Sounds great on the 88s, Tim.
Yeah, it sounds terrific, Tim Crump from Sacramento. Thank you. The frustration that I'm beginning to feel with the pod puppy, I can't even tell you.
Is the pod puppy still playing pranks on you?
She's doing a lot of pranks. Lately now, she does this thing where she runs in the house and leads me to believe that Bryan Cranston is in the alley. And then I go out, all excited to see Bryan Cranston, all ready to say, I watch your show every night, all night on disc. And, and it's never Bryan Cranston. Sometimes there's nobody there. Sometimes it's this neighbor who thinks it's weird that I keep calling him Brian.
Okay.
And the other thing she does, by the way, is she just goes outside and barks. And sometimes she's barking at people in the alley. Sometimes she's barking at airplanes. And other times she's just barking. And I don't know how to train that out of her. So if there's anybody, any of our listeners, here's what I'm thinking might help.
Right.
If there was like a platform, right, with a hole under it, and you could just, like, when she went to stand there to bark, you could just open the trap door and she would fall down into a big hole.
Yeah, that you might not be able to get away with that as far as animal rights people would be concerned, but because I think every animal has a right to not fall into a trap door. But Paula, let me just ask you.
No, it would go from like woo 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 to.
Yeah, I get the sound. I've watched enough Roadrunner cartoons to know what it sounds like when a furry animal falls a great distance. But Paula, let me ask you.
No, you know what it sounds like when a furry animal falls a great distance is.
That's what I mean. I expect you would have the decency to give Mo a slide whistle so that she'd be ready for such a fall.
It's not going to be a big distance. It's just going to be a big hole. Not like miles and miles down.
Yeah, but Paula, can we go back for a second?
Yes.
Because there's something kind of buried in the early part of your story that I feel like we need to drill down on a little bit, much like a hole in one's backyard. How is Mo, your dog, the pod puppy, part golden retriever, part Newfoundland, leading you to believe that Bryan Cranston is out there?
Just the look on her face.
Okay, yeah, now
No, this is a very smart dog. You'd have to see the look on her face. One thing about my dog Mo is she's nuanced. She has huge Emmett Kelly lips, and there's something about, the play in those lips that says Bryan Cranston's out there. I mean, the things she's done so far, you have to admit, are remarkable for a dog.
They are.
She put ducks in my room one day. I woke up with like honey draped all over me one morning. She just does stuff.
No, she's a prankster, all right. But
Yeah, she turned the treadmill on when I was recording, and then did it over and over again. She's a very clever dog.
That's clever stuff. But I would avoid looking too deeply into her facial expressions if I were you. Paula, let's turn our conversation because we're off to a running start this week and we haven't yet checked in with the two other luminaries on the show. I don't know if our listeners can hear this, but we have suspected Bonnie Burns of surreptitiously sipping a milkshake.
Yeah, there's a
so
sound.
I don't know if that sound is translating onto the podcast, but I can't not mention it because I'm hearing the sound of sipping in my ear. Let's first go up to the Simi Valley. Bonnie Burns, Paula's manager, our producer, our good friend, Captain Crinkle. How are you?
No, I was so falsely accused of making this noise. It's like there wasn't even anybody in contention. And yes, I'll admit that I was trying to quietly have a piece of steamed broccoli because it's like 5 o'clock Pacific time, which is when we tape the podcast, and I haven't eaten all day. So okay.
You were having steamed broccoli for breakfast? Yum.
No, it's what was here. And here's what the noise was. You just tell me if this sounds like sipping a milkshake, because I don't even think the sipping of the milkshake was me. Okay.
No, I don't hear anything at all.
I don't hear anything at all, Bonnie.
Okay. I rest my case. Wait.
But now
Yeah, but
I do.
as you were resting your case, we were hearing that milkshake sound.
Okay, wait. This is a harder piece.
Okay, there's no way eating broccoli sounds like sipping a milkshake. That's ridiculous. Bonnie, is it possible, and I'm just going to take a wild guess here, is it possible that you were recreating a Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland scene where you were
like
sipping milkshakes?
Yeah. No, you guys jumped right in there blaming me.
No, you make a lot of noise. That's the thing.
It's not me.
Okay, you know how when we used to go to the theater and they would make the announcement in the beginning, they would say, if you're going to open a hard candy, please take the wrapper off now before the show begins. Well, and a lot of times when Bonnie would go to the theater, they'd say, welcome to the theater. We hope you enjoy the show. If you're going to open a hard candy, please take the wrapper off now. And then a second would go by and they'd go, Bonnie. There's a reason for that.
Okay.
I think it's Tony
Let's get to
time.
the reason we...
Tony time.
No, we haven't even asked you what's new, Bonnie.
Okay, but I think anything I say is anticlimactic to this. We got some laughs. I think we're done.
You're putting on your producer hat and saying, stop talking to me. Well, I guess I'll buy that for now. Tony,
just in case I'm wrong.
Okay.
Just in case I'm wrong. But I'm sure I was right. But I'll tell you, like today, I didn't go to bed till 4:30 because I was up late doing something connected to my job. But, okay, wait. So wait.
Making a milkshake.
Here we go. So, when you're on your stomach and you're working on your computer and you're propped up on your elbows, that gives you a really bad backache.
Yeah.
I can say this with certainty. I've never done that before in my life.
Yeah, why would you do that?
I'm tired of sitting up, so I thought I'd lay down.
A lot of people lay down with their laptops, but they generally put it on their chests or their bellies as opposed to lying on their stomachs, because that's absolutely a recipe for getting a backache, or even more likely a neck ache.
Yeah.
You know what I like to do? I like to put my laptop behind me on the chair and then twist around. It can be a little painful at first, but eventually, once you've displaced some vertebrae, it's fine.
Yeah. You know what, Paula? I found that on hot days when I like to go outside in my backyard on the patio and put my laptop down and just kind of sit on the burning paving stones naked, I often end up really uncomfortable.
Yeah, and that can leave a mark. That kind of.
Oh, it does. It does.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is, Paula?
I'm not certain, Adam. That we're gonna have to get a doctor on the show that we could interview and try to understand that. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. It's such a weird description of working, and I'm wondering if once you're to the point of laying on your stomach with propping yourself up on your elbows using a computer. I'm wondering if you're at your sharpest to even be doing the computer work, and that maybe you would get more done by sleeping for a little while and then returning to the work. It's just an idea.
I couldn't agree with you more. All right, off to Studio City. Tony and Anita Hull, how the hell are you?
Hi. Bonnie's such a tough act to follow.
Really?
Yeah, she kind of is. First of all, I can hear you. Yeah. Tony, do you want to bring some Clydesdales into your apartment or something? Or maybe Clydesdales with tambourines tied to their tails? That might...
But Tony, we're happy to have you because you're always, in the midst of our going around the horn like we do, this little oasis of relatable material. What's going on in your life?
Well, I went back down to San Clemente to see my friend Maria. That was fun.
Which is your code for visiting the Richard Nixon Library.
Not true. I accidentally did almost drive into the fort down there, though, because I was looking for a Sonic, and there's one on the fort, but I didn't see that in the Google Maps. So I almost ended up on fort. What's down there? I can't remember. A fort of some sorts down there.
There's a lot of forts down there.
Fort Ord?
Like a military place?
Fort Ord?
I don't remember. I want to Google it, but I won't.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Never mind, Bonnie will do it.
I'll Google it.
Yeah, I knew it.
It's not important.
No,
There's
Bonnie.
a lot of forts down there, all the way from San Clemente down through San Diego. There's a ton of forts and bases and stuff
know
like
that.
that. So it's one of those.
When you say forts, are you talking about like neighborhood kids? Did you go to that fort that's made of the blankets and the couch cushions? That's a great fort.
I don't
Good one.
think that's what she's talking about.
It's Camp Pendleton.
Yes, Camp
it Camp
Pendleton,
Pendleton?
not fort.
There you go.
It
Thank
was
you
Camp
very much.
Pendleton. Sorry, it wasn't a fort. My bad.
Well,
Thanks.
but you could just ask Bonnie Burns. You could always just drive right up to Camp Pendleton, and if you want to go in, you just say Wahilo, and they let you in.
I want to go to. I want to see.
Little reference for our longtime listeners.
Well, yes, and to all those people that went to camp with Bonnie, because on Facebook, boy, they came out of the woodwork, didn't they? The people who went to camp with Bonnie.
Oh yeah, they did. They really did. They were the ones who let us know that Wahilo was not, in fact, a Native American word, but a faux Native American word, actually an abbreviation of sorts, a portmanteau of what was it?
Work, health, love.
Work, health, love.
Work, health, love. There we go.
So meaningful.
And I did learn that the women, the young women who go to those camps are slutty.
They're slutty?
What?
Are you talking about the fighting women of Camp Pendleton? Are you running down the American military?
No, of the Wahilo camps.
How do you know they're slutty?
I read somewhere that Wahilo girls are known to be slutty.
Where did you read this?
I would question your sources on this. Yeah, where did you read that?
I believe it was Urban Dictionary.
Yeah, it's kind of thing that you would expect to be a rumor started across the lake at the boys' camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wahilo girls are slutty. What? Bob says the Wohelo girls are slutty.
Exactly. Bonnie,
I was
Bonnie,
6.
do you have any recollection of this?
I was
You were
6.
6?
Remember, we
Then
were making.
shame on you.
We were
Really?
making flour on sticks. How could they possibly be slutty?
No, you didn't make flour on sticks. You
No,
put dough around
you're
a
right.
stick.
That's true.
Oh my
Sorry.
God, you can't follow a recipe.
Oh,
I
my
was.
God.
So you read,
Tony.
instead of pour a cup of flour into a mixture, you read, make a cup of flour for the mixture. And so it can take days to make a pie.
Yeah, well, you know, those Wohelo girls, you know what they say about them? They're always grinding the mill, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Adam, answer the phone. Answer the phone.
What? Answer the phone?
The phone.
Really? At this point?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Hello?
Hey, Adam, it's just me, Mike Boom Boom Bonifant. Am I the 100th caller?
No, Mike, you're caller number 88 in our 100th caller contest, which seems to be going on
man,
a long time.
So close, man, so close. I just want to say, I fucking love those Wohelo girls. You know what I mean?
What do you mean, Mike?
You know how the Wohelo girls are, don't you, Adam?
No, Mike, why don't you tell me?
Yeah, come on. You ever go out in a canoe with a Wohelo girl? Oh, my God. It's hard to stay on top of the water with a Wohelo girl.
Mike, can I ask you something?
You gotta wear your life vest if you know what I mean. You gotta have both oars in the water
Michael,
in a canoe.
Mike Boom Boom Bonifant, what exactly do you think a Wohelo girl is?
What? Who do I think they are? What do you mean?
What?
What do you mean?
What's a Wohelo girl?
You know how they are.
No, but what are they? What do you mean Wohelo girl?
You know how they make flour and wrap it around a stick? You know what I'm talking about. Come on, man.
Well, I know an innuendo when I hear one, Mike, and I want to thank you for calling and really adding a lot to
I
this
want to
show.
thank you for saying quotidian earlier. Get it? Get it? Quotidian? All right, good talking to you.
Bye, Mike. Wow,
Bye,
that was a
Boy, that
particularly
guy-
nice
that guy
call from
loves you.
Mike. Yeah, at
you
least he
know-
didn't call you that name this time, which I appreciate.
Adam, answer the phone. Answer
What?
the phone.
Oh, good God! I kind of see where this is going, but hello.
Hey, Adam, it's me, Mike Boom Boom Bonifant.
Yeah.
Am I the 100th caller?
No, you're caller number 89, Mike. Although I'm hesitant to count that one. What's up?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I just, I feel terrible. I hung up. I forgot to say something.
What's
I don't
that?
know how you work with that Paula Poundstone. She is such a bitch.
Hey now, Mike. Come on. That's out of. You called back to say that thing that I tell you not to say.
Oh, I felt terrible. I forgot. How can I forget that?
God damn it,
bitch?
Mike.
All
Okay.
right, I'll talk to you later. Good talking to you, man. Quotidian. Quotidian. Wohelo.
Oh my God. Paula, do we have anything else going on tonight, or can we just kind of proceed smoothly along?
Oh, Adam, I have an auction item.
You do not.
I'm telling you I do. These unused gloves are the forgotten protest gloves. This is what I have to auction today. These are the forgotten protest gloves of John Carlos. At the Olympic Games in Mexico City in 1968, 200-meter sprint gold medal recipient American Tommy Smith raised his black gloved right fist in a sign of black power, and 200-meter sprint bronze medal winner American John Carlos raised his black gloved left fist in a sign of black power. Both gloves belonged to Tommy Smith, but John Carlos also had a pair of gloves that weren't used. He accidentally left them back at the Olympic Village when he ran out of his room and into the pages of history. These gloves represent peacefully standing up for human rights, opportunity, and dignity. And I have them right here, ready to take you guys' email bids. And in the meantime, Adam, by the way, I keep hearing the milkshake.
The Phantom milkshake continues.
Yeah,
No,
this is
come
like
on.
this is like a Scooby-Doo episode. Adam, I have a word. I'm sorry to have to break up the milkshake discussion, but I have a word.
Okay.
Okay. Here it is. It's Legubrius.
Legubrius.
It means sad and dismal. Here, I'll use it in a sentence. My dog Mo stands at the back door with a spitty tennis ball and a lugubrious look. It's a great word.
It is a great word, and it's a great use of
therefore,
it right there, Paula.
I would like to induct lugubrious into my vocabulary song. While I reach for my glockenspiel, Bonnie, why don't you just keep sipping that drink?
Here, I'll eat some
So
more
this is going to
broccoli.
be, ladies and gentlemen, the vocabulary song played as a cantata for glockenspiel and milkshake.
There it is. All right. This week's word is Shoot. This week's word is lugubrious. No, that's not right.
Lugubrious.
No, it's lugubrious. This week's word is lugubrious. I got it. It's an adjective that means dismal and sad, like when ducks poop on everything you had. Last week's word was pernicious. It's an adjective that means having a harmful effect, especially in a gradual or subtle way. I'm spending more time on the computer every day. The week before that, we had impunity. It's a noun that means freedom from punishment or from the harmful results of an action. He fell off the roof and didn't end up in traction. Going back before that, we had phlegmatic. It's an adjective that means unemotional and calm. Oh, look, I just drove a nail through my palm. And not long ago, we had quotidian. It's an adjective that means happening every day, daily, or ordinary, like a Mainer eating a blueberry. Let's never forget gallimaufry, which I pronounced wrong until nobody James Hyder corrected me. It's a noun that means confused jumbler medley of things. Hodgepodge, who's podge, hodgepodge. Adam doesn't think my song is replicable, but I do.
Yay, Paula.
Bravo!
That was
Encore.
great.
Whew,
That was fantastic, Paula.
Oh, I would love to do an encore, but I don't think I could pull off that kind of energy and musicality.
No.
The combination again.
There's so much spontaneity. It's almost like jazz that I
Oh, it
can't
is
imagine
jazz.
you going to try it again.
No, it is jazz. Thank goodness we recorded it, because you're not going to get that again. That was unbelievable.
No. That's pretty much as good as it gets. All right, coming up, John Lennon said of New York City, "We're crazy about this city. Los Angeles, that's just a big parking lot where you buy a hamburger for the trip to San Francisco." John Purinton is here to defend the dignity and beauty of parking lots. That's coming up when we return on Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone. Is there something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Really?
Was that
I mean,
rhetorical? Sorry.
It could be it could be almost anything. It could be a mental block, or you're just feeling a little depressed, or you have a producer that never stops making extraneous noises.
Yeah, that can happen. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating in under 48 hours. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It is professional counseling done securely online.
There's a broad range of expertise available, which might not be locally available where you are. The service is available for clients worldwide. You can log into your account anytime and send a message to your counselor.
You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you won't ever have to sit. This is my favorite part. You won't ever have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room as with traditional therapy. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change counselors if needed. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available.
BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. Visit BetterHelp.com/Paula. That's better, HELP, and join over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional.
In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they are recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. Special offer for Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone listeners. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Paula. On this day in unremarkable history, Jack LaLanne said, "Oh."
Thank you, house band Tim Crump. Paula, we are back.
Tim Crump from Sacramento, Adam.
So, Paula, have you been in a parking lot recently?
You know, I was in a parking garage in Beverly Hills, and they had, I've seen these before, but I never paid any attention, really. They had red and green lights to tell you if spaces were full, if there was a car in a space, there was a red light hanging over it. And if they were empty, it had a green light hanging over it. And I got to say, that is brilliant. It
Super
makes
convenient.
Because otherwise I end up doing that thing where I do a sharp right and almost plow into a Mini Cooper.
Oh yeah, I would say the parking spots are probably the leading cause of death of Mini Coopers.
Just you don't see it there, and you hang that, and you're so excited and you want to get to it before somebody else gets, and you just kaboom with the Mini Cooper. So I have to say, I noticed this improvement in something that seemed destined to always be awful.
Well, Paula, here's the thing. Somebody designed that feature and the whole parking lot itself, and tonight we're pleased to have a man who has spent 25 years designing parking lots. John Purinton is the president and CEO of Watry Design Incorporated, a specialized design firm that focuses on parking systems. John is a licensed engineer in 8 states, although he practices in 10, don't tell anybody, and is responsible for the design of over 150 parking projects. Currently the chair of NPA's Parking Consultants Council, John was a contributor to the latest edition of the Dimensions of Parking. Please welcome John Purinton.
Glad
joining
you're
us,
here,
John.
My pleasure. I cannot wait to talk parking.
All right. Boy, you don't hear that phrase often.
Not really.
All right. Now, John, why did you choose... I'm happy that you did, but why did you choose parking structures? Why did you sort of forgo a more Frank Lloyd Wright direction of, designing buildings or homes and go into parking lots?
Well, I was trained as a structural engineer as opposed to an architect.
Gotcha.
But where I went to school, there was a lot of multidiscipline projects that you worked on. So engineers would work with architects, et cetera. And by the time I graduated, I just wanted a job. So I applied, and I was impressed by the founder of our company, Nick Watry. He was just gregarious, dynamic. I really liked him. And I kind of went to work for the company for him, not necessarily the type of buildings we design. And I've been there ever since. Yeah, I've been there ever since.
There's an enormous amount of extra stuff that goes into designing a parking garage, right? From a structural engineering point of view, right? Because there's it's not just the flow of traffic, but it's also the enormous weight, I'd imagine.
Yeah. So in California here, we deal with earthquakes quite a bit. And that's usually one of the bigger challenges that you have structurally. But I'll tell you one that is even a little more subtle, but it's even more important. And that is how durable is this building going to be? You don't have windows and stuff enclosing, the floors of this. And it really just expands and contracts daily and throughout the cycle of a year. And ultimately, you need to design them to be able to withstand that. It's the long-term.
What do you mean it expands and contracts?
Well, I like to explain it as this. Concrete is a living thing. It literally expands and contracts with, thermal changes, with weather changes, temperature
didn't know
changes like that. Yeah. So when you see older parking structures, deteriorating and beat up, they have rust stains and dark corners you don't want to park in. It's really because they are exposed to the environment 24/7. So you have to design them to last. Being exposed to that type of environment.
That's interesting because and I guess we might be going a little too deep here, but I know that on bridges, they deal with that concrete expansion and contraction by putting those little metal dividers in so that there's room for it to happen. Is that what you're doing in a parking garage?
Sometimes, if it's a real long building, we do put those expansion joints. Usually about every 400 feet. And so it depends upon the length of the building, but we do incorporate those.
Interesting.
Is that the thing that when you drive over it, it goes dunk dunk?
In parking structures that I didn't design, yes.
Oh. Why
Well
is that like
Thank you,
frowned
John.
upon in the world of parking structure? That dunk dunk sign. I can't tell you how many times that sound has scared the shit out of me. Either
And
because
Paula, it's a simple switch. If you put in the right material from day one, it won't make that clanky noise.
really. No, why don't other designers know that?
I think they do, but sometimes it comes down to cost, literally, nitpicking every line item. That's usually what takes it out of the project. So usually it's cost driven.
So either the money went into the pocket of the designer or it went into another feature of the parking garage. Now, I know this is asking a lot, but is there any possible way that I could use my relationship with you to get an article published in the Dimensions of Parking?
Oh boy, that's a tall order. I don't know, Paula.
Is that a periodical? Is that like a magazine?
No, this is a book that gets published by a few different organizations. It's a joint publication in our industry. It comes out, oh boy, I don't know, every 6, 8 years, 10 years. So
Well, that gives me plenty of time to write it, John.
John, just say no.
Depends on the topic,
No.
Well,
I think of a
on the
topic.
contribution.
It's my head is bubbling with topics for the Dimensions of Parking book.
It is not.
It is too. John, what did you write? You're a contributor to the latest edition of the Dimensions of Parking. What did you write in there?
Well, I contributed to sections on costs of parking structures, the structural design of parking structures, and I had the pleasure of reviewing the other sections.
So, what did you say about structural design? Did you write a paragraph that said, "Make it strong"?
It's just higher Watry design. That was the one sentence in there. No, it's the full-blown chapter on it. Lots of good tips and tricks on how to do them right.
Did you talk about that dung-dung noise? Because I could do that in my
that's
entry.
Your article right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And just use the dung too. Yeah, that's perfect.
Dung-dung. Yeah. Have you personally made any breakthroughs in parking lot design?
Oh boy. Yeah, I would say probably the top one that comes to my mind is, in today's world, we're looking at a lot of discussion about going away from the passenger vehicle and everything is going to be autonomous. Maybe you want a car, maybe you don't, but essentially you have these, self-driving vehicles picking you up and dropping you off everywhere. And that has turned into a bigger discussion called adaptive reuse or repurposing the parking structures. How do you design a very utilitarian building that parks cars to be turned into office building later? So that's a big subject when it comes to the whole conversation of autonomous vehicles and really what's going to happen in 10, 20 years. Who really knows? But that's probably been the biggest, I would say, part of our industry where we've been on the sort of forefront and sort of created the breakthrough ideas.
Have you built any structures that are repurposable yet?
Believe it or not, we haven't. There are a few out there in the world, but it ends up being how much do I want to pay now for flexibility in the future discussion, because we've seen where to adapting a small parking structure to be an office building in the future, might cost you 20 or 30% more today on the base parking structure construction costs in order just to allow it to be adaptable. There's still plenty of costs.
American business in general, or Americans in general, we don't really think very far in the future, do we?
Not far enough. Yeah. And especially for certain, construction industries, but that's definitely a breakthrough. I'm proud that we've been on the forefront of. So that's been real fun to keep chasing that and watching this sort of transpire overall in the industry.
Wow. So do you have any ideas as to what these parking garages would be converted into?
Yeah, there are some real simple ideas. And it would tie into the whole autonomous vehicle, discussion, is that
right.
Whether it's, Google or Apple or whomever, Amazon, whoever's running this large autonomous fleet, they'll need to store them somewhere, have them serviced, have them, recharged and, trash taken out, all the good stuff. So we've been looking at different options of where it could easily be converted into a storage warehouse for autonomous vehicles down the road.
So you're thinking then, John, a person won't actually own that car. That Apple or one of these god-awful companies will own it, and you'll just be served by it. Like, it'll just pull up, this self-driving car will drive you someplace, and then it will return to its lair in this storage place. Is that what you mean?
Basically, yeah. I mean, there have been studies in San Francisco that, with the onslaught of Uber and Lyft, they've doubled vehicle traffic in the downtown San Francisco area. So if you imagine, 100,000 autonomous vehicles in the San Francisco Bay Area or 200,000 in LA, you don't want them on the streets all the time, just zipping around, taking up, basically mileage. So that was one of the ideas. We've seen talks about converting it to conference centers on the lowest floor, because you can get big open spaces, even office or commercial office buildings. So those are the different areas we've been testing and looking at to really see how well a parking garage would be converted in the future.
All right. Here's an important question. Have you ever hit your side view mirror on those fucking poles in the parking garage?
I have. Yeah.
And have you taken that experience with you into your designing of subsequent parking garages?
Oh, every day. And it also depends upon, what you personally drive. That influences your, perspective on how well a garage is designed. I used to have a big old pickup. Well, now I've got a Mini Cooper. So I can park a lot quicker in my Mini Cooper because it's a lot more maneuverable. So you have to think about all the different cars and impacts that will affect just the normal operation.
How many times have people smacked into the back of your Mini Cooper pulling into your parking space?
Zero, because we laid it out well, so it's all good.
Because you have a big flag coming off the back of your Mini Cooper that says "I'm in here." Wow, are you good at parking, John?
Oh no, those of us who design parking structures are the worst. We drive the wrong way on one-way drive aisles. We rarely park in one spot. We take up two, because I'm always looking up. I'm looking at the building, not where I'm driving. So that's my problem I've got to deal with.
That's excellent. Joni Mitchell said they paved paradise and put up a parking lot. But can a parking lot actually be a paradise? Stay tuned to find out. The cat of the week is Bug from Los Angeles, California.
We deserve to know what we're putting in our bodies and why. That's why Ritual's founder is on a mission to reinvent the vitamin industry. Ritual left out mystery additives, synthetic fillers, and shady extras that can be found in some traditional multivitamins. Now,
Paula, do you miss those fillers?
I don't think I do. I think the last thing I need is a filler of any sort. I have taken Ritual vitamins, and I don't, you feel good knowing that you're doing something good for yourself. For one thing, I can't swear that it's not Dumbo's feather, but I certainly felt good when I was taking them. Ritual is designed to be gentle on an empty stomach, which mine rarely is. Their delayed release, no nausea design capsule is made to be gentle on an empty stomach. Can you imagine what that would be like? And the mint essence tab in every bottle makes taking your vitamins a minty fresh experience.
That's a good thing. Ritual is traceable and transparent. For obsessive label readers like myself, Ritual uses vegan-certified, non-GMO, gluten-free, and allergen-free ingredients, and their sources are out there for the whole world to see because they believe you deserve to know what you're putting in your body and why.
Daily changes can lead to big results, so start small today. Ritual is offering my listeners 10% off your first 3 months. That's a good deal. Try it out, satisfaction guaranteed. Go to ritual.com/Paula to start your Ritual today. That's 10% off during your first 3 months at ritual.com/Paula.
And we're back with parking lot designer John Purinton. John, this stuff is fascinating.
John, I could talk parking lots with you all day. It really is fascinating. Can you make me like a person who could fit in over at Watry? Can you tell me some of the, inside terms and jargon?
Oh boy, yeah. The parking industry has their own complete, volume of jargon. I think
tell us
real
some.
Simple ones. Yeah, one of the first ones that we learn is called efficiency, and that is a measurement of how many square feet of your building do you need to put together per parking space. So if you have 1,000 cars and your efficiency is 320 square foot per stall, your building would be 320,000 square feet. So you can kind of think about the math, but the efficiency is a simple one. APS stands for Automated Parking System. And that's where you, instead of driving around, circulating, looking for a spot, and then doing a 3-point turn to get in there, you simply drive into a carport. You drive in there, you essentially get your car parked correctly. There's sensors and guidelines to show you where to go. And once the lights are green, you exit your car and walk away. And it does it all for you. It's a mechanical system that will lift your car up, slide it, move it to a spot. And then when you're ready to come back, you can use an app on your phone, say, 3 minutes, I'm ready for my car, and it'll come back down. So that's APS.
So it's like you're sort of valeting it.
Yeah, but it's all automatic. There's no people involved except you leaving your car in this little carport.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
I kind of miss people in parking garages, by the way, sometimes. I hate it when I go to exit a parking garage and I can't make the ticket work in the pay machine, or, hey, I have some sort of problem and there's nobody there to help me. I find that very frustrating.
And you have to push the button and then someone says, hello, about 30 seconds later. Yeah, I get it. I do.
If they do that.
Well, one thing that's been interesting with COVID-19 and the whole touchless concept is most of the industry is going to go there. They're going to move to touchless, to where you can drive in, it'll either read your license plate or it'll scan something. You go park, and when you leave, you can pay all touchless. In other words, you can have your credit card on file. So there's definitely been some changes in the industry with COVID-19 impacting all of our lives too.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting.
John, have you ever lost your car in a parking lot?
Oh boy, yeah.
It's
Many
the worst,
times,
isn't it?
It is absolutely the worst. Yep.
All right. So when you lost your car in the parking lot, why do you think that happened? What was missing? What was wrong with that parking lot that such a thing could happen to you, of all people?
Yeah, it could have been my sobriety at the time. I was with a group of people, but no. If they're poorly lit, if there's not good signage to at least indicate, oh, you're on level 2 zone E, that's usually when you see that happen.
Oh, yeah.
We actually have several garages where people can take a picture of a QR code, on the nearest column, and it'll remind them where to go when they come back.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, wow. Huh. Yeah, I'll tell you, there is just nothing more frustrating, or very few things more frustrating than losing your car in a parking lot. John, maybe...
I think being falsely imprisoned over a series of years is probably a good, more frustrating thing.
Yeah, but I wouldn't...
That's a good second.
For me, that wouldn't fall into... I wouldn't describe that as frustrating.
I'd be downright peeved.
No, that's like tragic, and it would make me very angry. Whereas, to me, frustrating is more...
I'd be miffed.
Well, okay. Now you're splitting hairs. Irked. All right.
Yeah, I would find it irksome.
Yeah, it would be irksome. Trying to find your car in the parking lot thing, and I have occasionally, I'm not proud of this, but told myself as I walked away, I'm beside a gray car.
Oh, that's not a good method.
No, that does not work good at all. All right, so John, say I'm just out of school and Watry decides to take me on, and you're my mentor. How do you train me up? What are you going to tell me are the most important rules of parking lot design?
Oh, that's a good one. Safety is one of the most important ones. And that involves having, good lines of sight, whether you're driving your car to park it, or if you're now out of your car and you're walking to an elevator or stair, being able to see cars circulate and allowing cars to see pedestrians is really important. So safety is big. And then, the number or the first jargon I put out there, efficiency. One of the keys to making these parking structures cost effective is, tighten them up, having no wasted space, but still plenty of space for cars to circulate, so those are some of the key things. And then we touched on this earlier, but long-term durability is really critical to for an owner to really realize the value of their asset here and keep it in use. It's a key part of it as well. So safety, just functionality and lines of sight, and long-term durability are probably some of the key important rules.
Because if you do lose your car in the parking lot and you can't find it for years, you don't want the parking lot to collapse before you finally make that clicking sound with your keys and hear your car call back to you plaintively.
You paid good money for that car. Heck no, you want that garage to last.
Now, John, we quoted the Joni Mitchell classic, They Paved Paradise and Put Up a Parking Lot, but you were telling us during the break that there are ways that parking lots can be designed now where they're not necessarily unsightly or even sightly at all. You want to talk about that for a second?
I'd love to, yeah. And that really involves underground parking structures. We've done a lot of them. And essentially, on top of this parking structure that you enter and just simply go down below grade, we've seen, playing fields, rec fields. As a matter of fact, we've done 2 of these below grade structures for Stanford University alone. And it's all about, maintaining and preserving that open space on their campus. But, when you go below grade with all your parking, you got to make sure that it's well lit. The walls are painted a light color, and you don't have dark, dingy corners because that makes people feel unsafe. So it's a little bit different art to it, but we're seeing that a lot with, institutions that want to preserve their open space. That's really the biggest reason for it.
So are there places where there's the parking and then there's a use for the building and then more parking?
Yeah. Actually, that's a really cool subject. We call them mixed use parking structures. And we've done them with just about every, stores, retail. As a matter of fact, about 10 years ago, we did one for a medical center. And they were busting at the seams. They needed room for parking, but also they needed room for a surgery center. So we actually designed the first 2 floors to be hospital service. In other words, the first floor was
parking above?
Yeah, we had 6 levels of parking go above it. So we had to be real careful looking at vibrations and movement of the building and how did it affect the surgery center. And, You don't have to do
was-
that on every project, but this one turned out real cool.
Sorry
That
about
was
your
the-
nose, Miss Johnson. A truck came by and parked.
Yeah, exactly. That was the medical center that used to have the zigzag stitching on people's plastic surgery. I remember that place.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought that was like an intentional design feature of the stitching, but it turned out it's because cars were driving in and going thunk thunk right during the surgery. Huh. Oh boy.
You may have something there, Paula. You may have something there.
And the thing is, you do get to a point sometimes when you're looking for a space that, or I do anyways, where I become less and less safe in my driving as I go along because I'm so frustrated that I start to think, you know, what do I care if I get hit by a car? What do I care? I can't find a parking space. Have you ever reached that?
Well, I'll share with you. So I was doing research for an article I did last year, and it was about the human
Wait a minute.
condition.
Was it in
When
an
you're-
article in that book?
No, it wasn't.
I thought you were
let it
just
go, Paula.
rubbing my
Book, don't ya?
rubbing my
Yeah.
face in it
She's
now, John.
fixated on it now. She gets obsessive.
Well, this I'll give you clip notes here. It was basically that they were doing a study of people when they're in a parking spot and then they back out and leave. Okay, they did an average of, okay, it takes 90 seconds, whatever, for the normal person. But when somebody's waiting for them, it takes another 30 seconds because
Wow.
people get defensive, they get territorial. You know, think about it. It changed your whole kind of perception and your attitude. So there is something about a parking lot, you know, a psychology. There really is. So
Oh,
if you
that's
can make it a
interesting.
nicer, more amenable space, it hopefully reduces that anxiety.
Yeah. So people get in there and other people are waiting for them to pull out and they're like, no, I'm going to make a phone call.
Yeah.
I'm going to, I'm going to check my to-do list. I'm going to take a little time. This is my parking space.
Yep. And guess what? If they honk at you, you'll stay another 30 seconds because now you're really mad.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Oh,
they
yeah.
will.
Yeah,
Yes, they
no.
will.
Yeah.
Well, John Purinton, thanks to you, we've learned a lot about how to design a great parking lot. I'm ready to do one myself. But now we're going to take that information and we're going to run it through the old Poundstonator and see what it spits out. Paula?
Tim Crump, it's me, Paula. This is sounding fantastic, by the way. Thank you so much. If I can get a little background music, I'm going to tell you what I learned about parking garages. The hardest thing about designing a parking garage is that you have to build it to last through a time when we won't need parking garages. So with every design, the designer has to ask themselves, this is great for parking cars, but can it work as a ball pit or a whorehouse? Wahilo! Parking lot designers have to think about the future. And it's a future, frankly, I want no part of. When we won't even have our own cars. We'll just get dropped off and picked up by self-driving cars owned by Jeff Bezos. And you really won't go out to eat so much as a drone will drop a single-use plastic bag full of probiotic beverages through the self-driving car's open sunroof. And if you want to stay out an hour later, you have to call Jeff Bezos and say, Mr. Bezos, can't I stay out a little bit later? And if you keep the self-driving car waiting, it takes you over to a darkened corner of a parking garage and rolls over you a couple of times. The modern parking garage may end up as a clubhouse for off-duty self-driving cars, where they drink and compare war stories. Cooper, looks like you got your rear end smashed in. Yeah, a fucking Subaru plowed into me. I don't know how it didn't see me. I was yelling, reserved, 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 as loud as I could, and it still just plowed into me. Love, huh? It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
He is the president and CEO of Watry Design Incorporated and has designed parking lots for 25 years. John Purinton, thank you so much for stopping by our show and parking here for a while.
Oh, John, you were wonderful. Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure. You guys have both had a lot of fun and surprisingly interested in parking.
Oh, who's not interested in parking? We all are stuck doing it all the time. Thank you so
Very
much.
true. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Coming up, we have an update on our vocabulary contest. Tony Anita Hull, our very own Tony Anita Hull, is here to make the exciting announcement. That's coming up right after this. We all know that school this year will be unlike any other, and whether your kids are going back to school or logging into a classroom from home like they're doing here in my house. And as parents, it can be time-consuming to give your kids the extra help they might need this school year. Well, here's a little bit of help.
Here's something I do, Adam. I just do my kids' homework for them. Well, that's how I did it. I just did my kids' homework.
That's really not good for your kids.
No, that's the help. That's the extra help that they needed.
That's not help. That actually hinders their education. How about this instead?
No, we argued
Kiwico
much
can
less.
deliver hands-on.
We hardly ever argued. They came home because they went to school back then. They came home. They told me what their assignments were, and then I did them.
Right.
Simple dimple. That's the help that people need.
Well, if you don't feel that way, that Paula does, think about Kiwico. Hands-on science and art projects that your kids can actually do with you rather than you doing them for your kid, and these are delivered right to your door. Now, I had a couple delivered to me, and I did them with my daughter, Vivian, who's 7, and there are Kiwico for things for teens as well. We built a walking robot, and she participated in it, Paula. I didn't do it for her, and she felt a great sense of satisfaction when it was done. And actually, it was a ton of fun to do.
That's fantastic. And now the robot does her homework? That was clever.
No, nobody's doing her homework for her. Now, as a parent, it can be hard to find creative and new things to keep your children busy and challenged, especially now. Kiwico does the legwork for you so you can spend quality time tackling projects together and not for your kid.
Oh, well, that actually does sound good. Do your part to encourage your children to be innovators and creative thinkers. I used to do that with my kids. I'd say, kids, what color do you want me to do your homework in? They won't believe what they can build and accomplish with Kiwico. And when they're finished, watch their confidence be as big as their smile.
Kiwico is redefining learning with hands-on projects that build confidence, creativity, and critical thinking skills should you let your kids actually do it, Paula. There's something for every kid or kid at heart. At Kiwico, get 30% off your first month plus free shipping on any crate line at kiwico.com/Paula. That's KIWICO.com/Paula.
You know, it's not just for kids, by the way. They are really fun projects. In fact, my son and I got one time, and I just started doing it by myself, and he came after me with the little screwdriver in the box.
Yeah, that'll happen.
The Koi Pond is the hit podcast from the hilarious mind of comedian Joe Coy. Every week, Joe brings his infectious and explosive comedic energy from the stage to the recording studio.
Along with his co-host Dre Simmons, Joe talks about every topic under the sun. Family, stand-up, sports, and whatever crazy things are going on in his life. Conversations can be wild, silly, and uproarious, but Joe and Dre aren't afraid to dive deeper either.
Joe brings on guests from across the world of entertainment, including musicians and UFC fighters, as well as comedians like Gabriel Iglesias, Hannibal Buress, Tisha Campbell, and many more. You know, it seems to me that a UFC fighter would kick Hannibal Buress' ass.
Well, you'd have to listen to the episode to find out. The Koi Pond is your weekly dose of good vibes, positivity, and laughs. So check it out, The Koi Pond with Joe Coy. Listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Fun fact, the letter Q is the only letter of the alphabet which does not appear in the name of a U.S. state. At least, not since they renamed Oklahoma.
And now we take you live to French Trump's weekly press conference in progress.
Mr. President,
Sir, you.
Gracias, Mr. President. Antonio Montoya with Telemundo. you said in a statement this week that you don't think of the United States as a developed country. How then, sir, are you defining developed?
You know, big breasts. Next question.
Mr. President.
Mr. President. Yes, you're right.
Yes. Karen Van Carlson, OAN. Everything you do is so much better than Obama, sir.
Thank you, Karen. Do you have a question?
Not really, sir.
Next question.
Mr. President.
Over here. Yes, you right there. You, that man,
Thank you,
right
sir.
there.
Emmett Manning again, New York Newsday. Mr. President, so many news organizations have reported that you have called service members, veterans, and even military killed in service suckers and losers. What do you have to say about that?
Fake news. No one loves the military more than moi. If the military was a woman, I would let her spank me with my tax returns and then fuck her like she was my next wife. Next question.
And we're back.
French Trump has his own mini podcast, the French Trump Weekly Press Conference. You can find it, well, at the same place you're listening to us. Oh, Adam, we just got an email bid from Mark Zuckerberg with a $500 bid. Boy, you'd think he'd have enough to keep him busy taking down misinformation posted on Facebook by the White House. But I guess he recognized the value of these forgotten gloves. John Carlos says in his book, The John Carlos Story, the sports moment that changed the world, that in addition to their iconic Black Power pose atop the podiums at the 1968 Olympics, they had also removed their shoes to protest poverty, and they wore beads to protest lynchings. Carlos unzipped his jacket, which was against the rules of Olympic etiquette, but he did so in support of all working people, black and white. And we have John Carlos's unused gloves that Mark Zuckerberg has just made a $500 email bid on.
Right. It would be great if you could have gotten a hold of their socks, because, Paula, they didn't wear shoes, but they did wear socks.
Yeah, well, they were wearing those socks, so I couldn't get... I mean, I don't know how long they wore
prohibitively
them,
expensive socks, I would imagine.
Yeah, I don't know if Mark Zuckerberg could afford those socks. But anyways, there it is. Do you know, Adam, John Carlos was 23 years old, and Jimmy Smith was 24 years old when they made that protest. Carlos said in his book, he said, I looked at my feet in my high socks, the ones you were coveting, and thought about all the black poverty I'd seen from Harlem to East Texas. I fingered my beads and thought about the pictures I'd seen of the strange fruit swinging from the poplar trees of the South. Oh. These gloves represent something very, very important. And we have them for auction here. Mark Zuckerberg has made a $500 bid, so it's in play, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it was a different era, too. I mean, it was an era where civil rights problems were so extreme that athletes felt compelled during ceremonies around surrounding sporting events to stage some sort of a silent protest.
Yeah, can you even imagine that taking place now?
It was a different time. Anyway, Paula, moving on, as I hope you will remember, and everybody else will, on episode 109, we did something really unique and fantastic. We presented a vocabulary word contest. What we did is, if the listener could find all of our weekly vocabulary words that you're familiar with from the vocabulary song that we had cleverly embedded in the episode, then they would receive a Zoom call with me and Paula and up to 100 of the winner's friends.
And, I have to confess that the contest challenge was a lot harder than we thought it would be. When we planned it, we didn't start episode 109 with a plan of how many words we would use. We just announced the contest, and then all four of us, Tony, Bonnie, me, Adam, just had at it. And those words began to mount. So our producer and earthquake and cruise survivor Tony Anita Hull has been in charge of vetting the listeners' submissions.
And yes, and we should mention future cruise non-survivor, possibly, we're hearing. But Tony Anita Hull, can you step up to the microphone? Because I understand that you have an important and exciting announcement about our vocabulary contest. Tony Anita Hull, what's the announcement?
Yay, Tony.
Oh, thank you. So people have gotten so close, but the's still no winner to our vocabulary contest.
None?
What an announcement! there is no winner. Oh my God, I was on the edge of my seat.
Me too. The drum roll was happening, and wow.
Whoa.
No winner, huh?
Yep.
Now,
no winner, so...
People have gotten really close, though, right, Tony?
109. Really close. Like, just missed one. And you can only submit once. So if you haven't submitted, go back and listen to episode 109 and find those words. The contest, you could be the winner.
To review, name all the words, all the vocabulary song words that we use within the episode. Name them all, and you and 100 friends can be on Zoom with me and Paula. That's pretty exciting, and apparently it hasn't happened yet. So that's episode 109.
All right, now, I don't want to give, it wouldn't be fair for me to give clues now because of the people who already submitted, but I'm just going to break all, I'm just going to do a taboo thing here and say brainrection is not one of the vocabulary words. There.
Yes, brainrection is both not one of the vocabulary words, nor do I think it's used in the show in 109. So, it's not much of a hint.
But, I don't want people writing it down thinking, I know a word, brainrection.
Right.
We're hoping to get that into the dictionary.
But it's not yet.
Brainrection, which is when, all of your energy shoots into your brain for a particular function, and then afterwards you're just spent. That's what a brainrection is.
Your brain becomes excited by something.
Yeah, exactly. And then, and then you got nothing. So, future winner, we are looking forward to meeting you and your friends via Zoom. And if you don't have 100 friends, that's okay.
But you know what, Paula? While we're on the subject, we are going to be hosting a Zoom for 100 of our eventual contest winners' closest friends. But what about the other listeners? Where can they go to find that kind of unbridled joy?
Oh, I've got joy, Adam. For example, not to mention nobody listens to Paula Poundstone. That's a bucket of joy right there. But I've also launched a show called Nobody Asked You, starring Paula Poundstone. It's a little pup tent of a game show to help people get away from the cramped headspace of 2020. Each week, 2 contestants earn points for what they know about each other. You can find it on YouTube and our social networks, or join us around the old Facebook campfire. And to lift your cat's spirits, try my handcrafted pussy pillows, 4.5 by 5-inch pillows stuffed with catnip, which I will autograph to the cat or cats of your choice. They're available at my store at paulapoundstone.com. Wait a minute, Adam. We just got an emailed bid of $550 from Christine Cox, the woman who has made those amazing Perry Mason videos on our Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone Facebook page. I'll be honest, I'm not supposed to play favorites, but I'm glad these historic gloves are not going to Mark Zuckerberg. Thank you, Christine.
Yeah, thank you, Christine.
So the gloves that we're auctioning off right now were back in John Carlos's room during his historic protest at the 1968 Olympics. Keep in mind that in 1968, we were in the midst of the Vietnam War protests. We were in the wake of the assassinations of Martin Luther King and Robert F. Kennedy. And on television, we watched Chicago police beat demonstrators at the Democratic National Convention. Yet Carlos and his co-hero, Jimmy Smith, were not treated as heroes at the time. They carried a message that many Americans did not want to hear. They were booed, suspended from the track team, and vilified in the press. They even received death threats for their peaceful protest. So I want to thank Christine Cox for bidding $550 on these beautiful and historic. Wait a minute! Oh my God! There's another bid.
Oh, wow.
It's also from a nobody. George Ellsworth is kicking the dust of triple-digit email bids off his shoes. He has bid $1,500 for these unused gloves of Olympian and civil rights activist John Carlos. Thank you, George Ellsworth. That's cool. So I mentioned that the pussy pillows are available at my store at paulapoundstone.com. If you have not packed in enough Paula Poundstone, you can go to cameo.com/PaulaP33 and I will deliver a video message to whoever you want. I'll tell your fiance that postponing your wedding for safety will just make it sweeter. Or I'll tell Melania that you don't feel sorry for her because she's in it up to her elbows. That's cameo.com/PaulaP33.
And Paula, I have some exciting news. As you know, I've been doing that Starburns Sunday Sports simulcast with my good friend Jeff Cesario, host of the Play with Pain Starburns podcast.
Yes.
You're familiar with that. Yeah, it's been great. It's been going really well. We've had some great special guests like Alonzo Bowden and your friend Peter Sagal. We're continuing with that. It's going to continue to be every Sunday night for Sunday Night Baseball. You watch ESPN, turn down your sound, and you listen to us. Here's the important announcement. We're going to be sportscasting this thing on Sunday night. But from now on, we've got our own domain, Paula, so it's that much easier to find us. Turn on ESPN, which I like to call our sister network, though they don't know we're doing this. And for your audio, just go to Starburnsports.com. That's right. You just go to Starburnsports.com on any device that you have, and you can hear Jeff and I calling the game live.
Oh, that sounds great. And thank you so much for joining in the Plugorama.
All plugs.
Adam and Paula's Plugorama.
You know, and this is all in anticipation in October. First week of October, it'll be Paula and Adam's all plug show. So don't miss that.
Oh my gosh, wait a minute. I can't believe it. We just got a $1,550 email bid for John Carlos's unused gloves from Dan Cassidy. Dan Cassidy. Do you know who this guy is?
I do not.
He left a review of our show that said we do the same jokes over and over. He said it's like deja vu, but less exciting. And this guy, Dan Cassidy, is bidding on track star and activist John Carlos's gloves. Well, it's obviously not to support our show. Mr. Cassidy obviously values this reminder of the courage of John Carlos and Jimmy Smith. So thank you so much, Dan Cassidy. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And oh my gosh, right here in the midst of the Plugorama.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the end of the Plugorama. Well, no, I'm wrong. Look at this. You can find me, and if we want to hear from you, nobody's out there. And if you want to enter our theme song contest, which is fun, and you can make a theme song and win a prize, send us a succinct show description or just drop us a line. Send it to us at nobodylistenstopaulapoundstone@gmail.com. Once again, that's nobodylistenstopaulapoundstone@gmail.com. Take it away, Plug and Paula.
Ah, shit, Adam.
What?
We just got another Mark Zuckerberg bid. This one is for $5,000. Well, that's it. That kind of blows the other bidders out of the water, really. There are only a few more minutes, but my listeners are not rich, and Mark Zuckerberg has just moved the bidding to what is probably an unachievable level. So, in all likelihood, these gloves that commemorate such an important part of civil rights activism and history are on their way to live in a closet full of hoodies and flip-flops.
Well, you know, Paula, the cause of social justice moves on whether it's wearing flip-flops and hoodies or just walking down the street. So congratulations to Mark Zuckerberg again. I guess he's going to end up with the big prize.
Yeah. All right, look at part of the Plugorama. You can find me and Adam on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We're all over the place. And check out our Facebook page at Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone.
That's our show. Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone is hosted by Paula Poundstone and yours truly, Adam the Felber. Thanks to our special guest, John Purinton. You were great, John. And to our mighty, mighty house band, Tim Crump. Our show is produced by Paula Poundstone, Adam Felber, Bonnie Burns, Ken Lezebnik, and Tony Anita Hull. Mixing by Michael Hoagie. Star Prince production by Land Romo. And thanks once again to our former intern, Doug. We didn't have time to talk about it, but there's lots of interesting developments in the case. Doug, you will be avenged. Transcription services for the show provided by Transcribe Me, a premier internationally used transcription service. Use code Paula Poundstone when placing your order at transcribeme.com to receive an expedited service.
That's our show for tonight. Won't somebody... Wait a minute!
What?
I've just received an email bid from Dan Cassidy, another bid from Dan Cassidy, who hates our show. Tell me that's not exciting, Mr. Cassidy. With a $5,100 bid, you have outbid Mark Zuckerberg by $100 in the last second of the show. These gloves, representing these courageous athletes who are finally being seen as the heroes that they are for risking it all to ask America to meet her promise, are going to Dan Cassidy. Thank you so much, Dan Cassidy. Won't somebody please listen to me?
Wow, that was a down-to-the-wire auction.
Whoa. And from a guy that was very critical of our show. Yeah, he said that we just say the same jokes over and over again, and that, what did he say? It's like deja vu, except not as exciting. Huh.
Yeah, you just said that a second time.
Had I already said that? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, earlier in the show.
Way,
sorry, Dan.
Yeah, in a way, Dan has a point. Huh.
Yeah, I guess he does.
Yeah.
Like deja vu, but not as interesting, huh?
If I were to cut myself in half again, I think I would anger Ed and Dan.
Yeah, but then wouldn't you be in quarters?
No, I would just go right for it, because I've been stitched up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you could always cut yourself in the other direction.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be. No, I'm good at it this one way. I know I can do it this one way. The other way, I might kill myself.
Are you though? Are you though?
Starbane's Audio, a podcast network.